Dear students, today we are going to see about the sources of Indian Constitution. So, when we talk about the sources, and it is a comprehensive exploration of both internal and external influences that shaped our India's fundamental document of our constitution. The framers of our constitution, they studied different constitution and took lot of aspects from other country and also some of the internal sources, that is our India's own legal frameworks, political movements and cultural traditions also influenced, and it has formed the foundation of our constitutional thinking. So first we could say the legal framework. So pre-existing governance models which we followed under British rule. Second, we can take as freedom struggle, independence movement. It shaped our constitutional vision in many ways. Then our India is very rich in its culture, and it is a pluralistic society which integrated into legal framework. So all these aspects were taken taken as an internal source for our constitution. Another important aspect is Government India Act of 1935, and this 1935 Act is the first act which talked about the constitution or the rule of law. The most significant internal source, we could say, in other words. It provided a structural framework for federal government with central authority and provincial authority. So it talked about division of powers between center and state. Now that time it was provinces, so provincial governments. Then legislative frameworks and procedures also. Then emergency provisions for crisis situations. These were the key aspects which the framers took from the Government Act of 1935. Apart from that, the Indian political movements also served as the internal source for our constitution. So we could say that there were so many movements, resistance, acts which were there throughout the political movements. From 1900 to 1919, lot of Indian Council Acts were introduced. So that introduced the representative elements. Gradually, the Indians were involved in the rule of British government. Then Nehru Report in the year 1928. It drafted constitution with the Bill of Rights and Federalism. Then when we take this freedom struggle, which was the leaders demanded justice, liberty, equality and fraternity for the people of India. And apart from this, there were so many cultural, social influences, like India is a land of religious freedom. As we already saw, it is a pluralistic society. So it integrated into legal framework and ethical values like Gandhian philosophies and the philosophies of non-violence, social welfare, social justice. All these were included in our constitution. Then minority right. India is a land with diverse social norms, societal norms, which influenced the approach of personal laws and also the community protections. So now we will go to the external sources. So what were the external sources is the framers of our constitution, they borrowed the best practices from the countries all around the world and adopted it to Indian context. That's why our constitution is called as the bag of borrowing. So from British model, they took this parliamentary democracy and rule of law. From US constitution, the fundamental rights, federal structure were taken. From Irish constitution, the directive principles of state policy was taken. Then from British and an American, but on the whole, the British and an American influence is more in our constitution. So as we all know, the parliamentary system, rule of law, independent judiciary, legislative sovereignty, all of these things from British constitution, and also federal rights framework, federal fundamental rights and separation of power, executive, legislature and judiciary. This separation of power between executive, legislature and judiciary, it is from the US constitution. And all other European countries, we can say that from Irish constitution we have taken directive principles of state policy, that is which state policy making towards social and economic reconstruction. Then federation with so strong central power government, it is from the Canadian model and Australian constitution. There are three lists that we all know: union list, state list, and concurrent list. So the concurrent list of powers is shared between central and state. It was taken from Australian constitution. So apart from that, that French ideas influence liberty, equality, fraternity, which is the gift of French Revolution. It is incorporated into our preamble. Then Soviet model of social economic rights in directive principle, and from constitutional amendment procedures were taken from South African model. Then also emergency powers and presidential rule provisions were taken from Germany. Then we can say that our constitution is a fusion of internal and external sources, which reflects the framers' a goal to create a balanced, inclusive, and adoptable constitution. So India has its own, even though it is called as the bag of borrowing, even though a lot of provisions were taken from other constitution, it was modified for, and it was custom made for Indian concept. So it is now, we can say that global best practices were adopted, and it was the framers were very careful in bringing India as a democratic republic. So, and also focused on India's socio-economic progress. Thank you. Dear students, today we are going to talk about the preamble of India. Our preamble starts like this: we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens. So that's the beginning of our preamble. What is preamble? That is, a preamble is a short introduction of our Indian constitution, and it tells us about what is our constitution is based on, in what philosophy it's based on, and what is the guiding principles of our constitution. So the preamble, it beautifully summarizes the objectives of our constitution and the framework for fostering a harmonious and inclusive society. So when we take this preamble, constitution, and the preamble, we all know it is adopted on November 26th, 1949 by the Constituent Assembly. So it reflects the collective resolve of the people of India. So what is the core identity which our preamble is talking about? It is, first is sovereign. So sovereign means a complete autonomy and freedom both in internal and external affairs. And it is our people are free from any external control. And the second is socialist. Socialist is eliminating the inequalities in all aspects of life, like income, status, standard of living, social discrimination, etc. Then it is secular. That is, secular is the country treats all the religion equal, and it maintains neutrality in religious affairs. Not only that, it allows freedom of faith and worship. That is what a secular means. And more than that, it is important aspect of our constitution is democratic republic. That is, democratic means government is elected by the people, for the people, and it is of the people, upholding the principles of fair elections, rule of law, and civil liberties. Then it's republic. The head of the state is elected, and it is not hereditary. They are elected, and it promotes equality and among all people. Then is justice. So justice means all types of justice. social justice, economic justice, political justice, abolishing all types of social inequalities and ensuring equal treatment to all the citizens of India is social justice. And economic justice means it's striving towards the distribution of wealth equally among the people to reduce the disparities, are trying our best to do this. Then political justice, guaranteeing all citizens the equal political rights. Anybody can participate in election, anybody can become the prime minister, anybody can contest in election. Then liberty. So liberty means liberty that is ensures freedom which is necessary for our personal intellectual development, which includes a lot of things, a lot of freedom, like freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of belief, freedom of faith, and freedom of worship. Then another important aspect is equality. So equality in all aspects of life. Equal protection should be given, whether they are rich or poor, high or low. Guarantees equal, our constitution guarantees equal protection and equal treatment under law for all the citizens. Then no discrimination based on caste, race, sex or place of birth, or rich or poor. Then opportunity should be given equally in the aspects of education, employment and public service. The final thing is fraternity. So what is fraternity? India is a country where different kind of people, it consists of different culture and different practices, different religions. So fraternity is very, very important aspect of our national integration. It promotes national integration while respecting individual dignity and ensuring unity in diversity. That is the important, a very unique aspect of our constitution is unity in diversity. So this fraternity, it assures dignity of all individuals and unity and integrity of nations, fostering a sense of brotherhood among all citizens. So what are the key takeaways of our preamble? Our preamble is, as I already told you, it is an introduction to our constitution. Once we read our preamble, we'll know it is an essence of our constitution. We know the essence of our constitution. So the takeaways is these four aspects, that is democratic sovereignty, and it is the power derived from the people and for the people, no external control. And the second one is comprehensive justice, that is social, economic and political justice for everyone equally. Then freedom and equality, where there is freedom and equality, there is always growth. So liberty of thought and expression with equal protection. Then national unity, that is fraternity, ensuring the dignity and integrity of our nation. Hope this class you are able to understand the preamble of our constitution. Thank you. Greetings students. Today we are going to see about the Indian citizenship, an overview of how to acquire Indian citizenship and what are the benefits of a citizen, etc. So we are going to understand the legal framework, rights and contemporary debates which shapes India's democratic identity. And when we see the constitution, what constitution says about Indian citizenship is article from 5 to 11 deals with citizenship. So defining who qualifies as Indian citizen and empowering the parliament to regulate acquisition of Indian citizenship and also termination of it. So when we take this articles from 5 to 8, it defines a citizenship at constitution's commencement and provisions for migrants from Pakistan. Then article 9, it talks about the voluntary acquisition of foreign citizenship which terminates Indian citizens from its citizenship. Then article 11, it empowers parliament to make provisions regarding citizenship acquisition and termination also. Then there are different type of acquiring the citizenship. First is by birth. So if you are an individual born between January 26, 1950 and July 1987, automatically you become the citizen of India. Post July 1987, at least one parent must be an Indian citizen at that time of birth. Then you become Indian citizen. Then by descent, that is person born outside India on or before December 10th, 1992, can claim citizenship if either of the parent are Indian citizens at the time of their birth. Then apart from that, there are other modes of acquisition of Indian citizenship by registration. So persons of Indian descent who have been resident in India for 7 years before applying for citizenship, so they can register. And even though if they are Indian descent but living in abroad, they can come and stay in India for 7 years and then apply for citizenship. That's what it means by registration. By naturalization is foreigners who can acquire citizenship after living in India for at least 12 years and fulfilling the other qualifications of Indian citizenship. Then by incorporation, that is when territory is added to India, the government specifies that who should be granted citizenship. Then how can you lose your citizenship? So first is by renunciation. An Indian citizen over 18 years, you can renounce the citizenship by declaration if you don't want to be an Indian citizen. Then by termination, so voluntarily acquisition of another country's citizenship terminates Indian citizenship. It is a single citizenship. We follow single citizenship. There is no double citizenship. So if you become a citizen of another country, for example America, naturally your citizenship of India is terminated. Then deprivation, that is specific to naturalized citizens, can occur if the citizenship was acquired through fraud, disloyalty or unlawful training. We saw that naturalization is when the foreigner and getting the citizenship of Indians. Then if they acquired it by fraud or disloyalty, they will be deprived of their citizenship. Then OCI. What is this OCI? That is Overseas Citizenship of India. And this is granted to the foreign Indians who are living abroad. And the Indians by birth, but they live abroad. So they are granted this OCI. And they have multiple benefits on this. Multiple entry, multi-purpose, lifelong visa to visit India they'll have. Priority with NRIs in economic, financial and educational fields, they'll be given priority. And no requirement for registration with authorities. It is not needed. Otherwise, if they don't have this OCI, every time, even though they are born in India, and they become a citizen of America or any other country, and automatically their citizenship is in India is cancelled. But if they get OCI, they have all these benefits. So but this another limitation is they cannot vote. They cannot have any constitutional posts, or they cannot purchase any land in India in their name. So this CAA, which is very famous, which was passed in 2019, that Citizenship Amendment Act that we all know, that is what is the main purpose of this act, to provide citizenship for this persecuted minorities due to religious status in neighboring countries. This was passed, and which created a lot of controversy and debates and protest and so many things. And no, they have said because it excluded Muslim immigrants. That is the reason it raised a lot of debates and protest, etc. Then who is a citizen and who is a non-citizen? Citizens, they enjoy full rights, responsibilities, political voting rights and eligibility to be a government employer. But non-citizens, they include tourists, residents, refugees, and their rights is very much limited. They can enter our country with visa for employment or any other extended stay or any other purposes. Then what are the contemporary issues that we have now is the refugee status and asylum. So you know what is refugee when a country is going through some problem, internal problem, the people come from there to our country. Especially we face it in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So that issue that we have, and the NRC, that is National Register of Citizens. This exercise to register citizens in Assam, and with the intention of this to identify illegal immigrants not to enter our country. And this also has a lot of debate and a lot of arguments over this. So these are the two issues that we are facing on citizenship. Then when we conclude this citizenship in modern India, it encapsulates national identity, rights and obligations. So constitutional legislative frameworks underscore democracy, equality and integrity. So citizenship is very, very important, and citizenship laws must adapt to global migration and social political shifts, and it should remain relevant, and it should be just. And the dialogue surrounding the CAA and NRC highlight India's engagement with core values and world stage values. Okay, so we have to continuously understand and review the citizenship laws according to the need of the hour, and foster a nation to where every individual feels secure, valid, and integral. Thank you.